I'm Melanie Marin-Pell of AJC, and I'm joined by Israel's ambassador to the United Kingdom, Daniel Taub. Ambassador Taub is an expert in many areas, from the peace process to Syria to the UN. Mr. Ambassador, welcome.
Thank you.
One of AJC's priorities is combating the rising anti-Semitism in Europe, but also monitoring and combating the anti-Israel activity in Europe. Can you say a little bit about the anti-Israel animus in the UK and how it's affected your priorities as ambassador?
Sure, thank you, Melanie. To put it in some sort of context, I think we have to recognize that Israel-UK relations in many ways are in a very good place at the moment. We've doubled our bilateral trade over the last 4 years. We have amazing cooperation on security issues, on technical issues, academic issues, and so on. But alongside that, we have exactly what you're talking about, where we're talking about growing hostility to Israel. We see it in particular in a number of specific arenas, in parts of academia, parts of the media, parts of the trade union movement, some of the religious institutions, and so on. And I think what that means is we have to do two things. The first is we have to be very focused in very specific responses. If there's a boycott initiative, if there's a particular resolution, we have to harness all of our responses. And so far we've been very fortunate. We've had some success in holding those at bay. But that's not a sufficient response in itself, because a much deeper response is to make sure that we have a positive agenda that is louder than the negative agenda. What we need to do is we need to make sure, it's one of our greatest assets. If you look at the group that is campaigning against Israel, it's sometimes called the Red-Green Alliance. It's an alliance of radical leftists and radical Islamists. And it's very vulnerable, because if you say to that group, we know what you stand against, but tell us what you stand for. Are you in favor of women's rights? Are you in favor of gay rights? Are you in favor of freedom of expression? Then that group simply falls apart. And that's why it's so important for us as advocates of Israel to have a positive agenda, to come to the different parts of British society, to say to them, think about your core values. Where are they reflected in the Israelis' picture? And let's build bridges and work together.
Ambassador Taub, thank you so much for speaking with us today.